And welcome into the program. I'm Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us today. Oh, man. We got a lot we can talk about today, including the nonsense with Michigan. It's so stupid when you really stop and think about it, but we'll definitely get into that today. I want to welcome everyone to the program. Shout out to our brothers and sisters down in the Charleston area and everybody having to deal with this damn horror storm, Debbie. They just closed schools up here in Columbia. Even though right now you look outside, it looks windy, but the sun's out. So there's that. All right. So with that, look, we're just going to take it from the top here. And what I mean by that is that the NCAA has, quote, punished Harbaugh for unethical conduct. Let's get into that. He has a 4-year show cause for recruiting violations. They announced that for the former Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh on Wednesday for impermissible contact with recruits and players while access was restricted during the COVID-19 pandemic, effectively banning him from college athletics until August of 2028. First of all, let me just put this out there. He's got a 5-year contract, I believe it is, to run the football team that he's running in the pros. Jim Harbaugh does not give a shit. Let's make sure that we put that out there. And you know what he's going to say? Even if you put the truth serum to him and he point blank tell you, look, yeah, I probably did all that stuff, but you know what? When I left, we were national champions. We weren't running around being Ohio State's bitch. We were national champions. That's what he's going to say from his office in the with the LA Chargers right now as he moves across the country. Okay, so they said after last year's national championship, he engaged. The NCAA said Harbaugh, who left his alma mater after winning the national title, engaged in unethical conduct, failed to promote an established atmosphere of compliance, and violated head coach responsibility obligations. The NCAA already put Michigan on 3 years of probation along with a fine and recruiting limits after reaching a negotiated resolution in the case. Harbaugh did not go along with the agreement, disputing allegations. He failed to cooperate with investigators, so this case was handled separately. So basically, he didn't like what they came up with, and he went on and on and on. TaylorMade brings up, and see, I wasn't going to talk about the people at Tennessee because they think that this is a Tennessee program and all we do is talk about Tennessee. This has nothing to do with Tennessee, but I'll read your comment there, TaylorMade. Tennessee gets talked about for paying kids 65 grand, but you have programs like damn Michigan and UGA who are literally altering games and or altering lives. Michigan cheated to win. You think Tennessee didn't fucking cheat? You think that your program is fucking innocent of all of this? Get the fuck out of here with that nonsense. Go on with that bullshit. Don't come at me with that shit that, oh, Tennessee didn't do anything. Ridiculous. I don't want to hear that. All right? You're all scumbags. But in the end, everyone is doing stuff behind the scenes that doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay? But to come across that you're more holier than thou is just fucking stupid. We're not going to entertain that nonsense here today. I wasn't going to bring up the Tennessee folks. You've already had your punishment, and you fired everybody, and you didn't deserve a bowl ban because you fired everybody. We got rid of everyone, even though we're the most sanctioned program in the conference since 2000. We got rid of everyone, so since we fired everybody, we shouldn't have gotten that. We don't even need to go into that. One of the biggest disgraces that the NCAA has, which goes into this. If I'm Jim Harbaugh, I would look at the NCAA in the eye and be like, first of all, I don't really care because I'm going to be coaching the Chargers. Second of all, I've got more money than I'll ever know what to do with. Third of all, if I decided I wanted to come back to Michigan, unless Sharon Moore lights the fires up there in Michigan and does great stuff, I assure you that the people at Michigan would love to have him back. Why? Because he won a national title. That's why. Because he won. When you win, no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit. Okay? But in the end, Harbaugh would likely tell them, you are a paper tiger. You cannot do shit to us. We're going to fight you on this 4-year show cause thing, which, by the way, is one of the most un-American things I've ever heard of. How is it that you can tell someone you cannot work here and that not be a discrimination type thing? I don't get that. There's some lawyer out there, I'm sure, that would love to take that on. How is that even a thing? Now, do I think that Michigan was cheating and doing all kinds of stuff? Yep, I certainly do. The stuff behind the scenes that he was doing, the sign stealing and all of that's hog shit. None of that should have been happening, period. Okay? But in the end, the NCAA, they get what they deserve on this front. Meaning they had an opportunity to hammer other schools. Let's talk about one in North Carolina, where they gave away African American studies degrees for basically being able to spell your name correctly. Yeah, that's what North Carolina did for years. And North Carolina, they had some recruiting they had some stuff like that came back. Yeah. What exactly, how did that exactly affect North Carolina? They won a national title afterwards, after having all that stuff against them in basketball, which is the only sport they truly care about up there. Football is just something for them to watch until they get to Midnight Madness. Kentucky fans know what I'm talking about. All right, let's just be honest with what we are here. They had a chance to hammer them and send out a message to these punk ass bitches, which is what you are when you do stuff like what North Carolina did and what Michigan did. And I'll even give TaylorMade credit here. What Kansas did. Okay? The stuff that they did, punk ass bitches, because they were rubbing it in everybody's face. The $500 handshake, yeah, that happens. I don't really have an issue with that. If you're out there and you make great plays and some alumni comes up to you, shakes your hand, gives you $500, hell of a game there, son. Go and go. There's some laundry money and take your girl out to 5 points. I don't have an issue with that. Really don't. That's America as it comes. But cheating, which is what those programs did, the NCAA had the opportunity to hammer them. If they would have given North Carolina, I don't know, you can't go to the NCAA basketball tournament for 2 years. You cannot go. Also, every ACC game that you play in for the next 2 years is forfeited. You can play them, you can win them, but guess what? It's a forfeit. It's a forfeit. Sorry. And the banners that you have where these young men like Antoine Jameson, yeah, where they were out there doing their thing, yeah, those are gone. We're not going to have those either. We will be taking those. You cannot hang them in your arena. Yeah, if they would have done that, if they would have sanctioned the football program to the point where you're not going to a bowl game for 2 years. Yeah, I mean, hit them where it hurts. Hit them where they're suck-ass fans who sit there, yay, North Carolina, yay, all that, where they're going, and it'll affect their ability to fundraise and do other things. Hit them there. Should have done the same thing to Tennessee. Tennessee should have had a bowl ban for at least a year. Let their fans know, look, we were cheating. We're not supposed to do that anymore. We got caught. Yes, everybody does it, but we got caught. And now we pay the price. We get to watch our teams beat the shit. Now, we're not going to a bowl game this year. We're going to hurt you a little bit more because there's what? You have 25 scholarships a year. In year 2, you only have 12 scholarships. So we're going to make sure that you have walk-ons playing for you. That way, the next year, the chances of you going to a bowl game are the shits. If they did some stuff like that, which they could do it. They would hammer these teams into it. They would set an example of, look, we are not to be screwed with. You want to take us to court? Take us to court. I don't care. Guess what? We've got attorneys. And the other universities that are part of the NCAA, they should fund those attorneys. So these assholes don't get the shit that they got. But what happens is you got a bunch of basic bitches that are like, oh, well, if we get caught and our stuff comes out, we don't want to we want to have Tennessee on our side or Kansas or North Carolina. They're all cunts. That's all there is to it. It's disgusting. Rec Talk with a great comment. Scholarships don't matter anymore. You could just NIL a guy and call him a walk-on. That's fair. Maybe cut their ability to do NIL. You can't be an NIL athlete here. There's shit that they can try to do. Okay? There are little things that they can do. But come up with something and stick with it. So, is the Harbaugh situation the shits? Yep. Yep. I'm with you on all that. Was what he doing backwards? Yeah, he was recruiting in a time when the whole world was told don't recruit. And this is in the middle of a pandemic, which is what they're bitching about. Now, we've learned that a lot of the stuff with the pandemic wasn't really as far-fetched as it seemed, but at the time, we didn't know. So this idiot is going out and recruiting in something that we don't know anything about. If you remember, there was a time in the pandemic where there was people posting stuff on Twitter about how they would make nurses dress in like spacesuits to take care of these guys that came in with the COVID, because it was like, oh my God, this is like some flesh-eating stuff. It's kind of the way they put it. We didn't know anything for a while. I worked for iHeartRadio, the biggest radio company in the world, and we were told to go into our building. We stay in our studio. There were 2 of us allowed at a time. We're not supposed to talk. I mean, it was just all kind of shit. You guys remember the pandemic. He pissed on the pandemic rules. Where everybody else was trying to, at least try to follow them, he wasn't. He's like, fuck you. I'm Jim Harbaugh. I'm the head coach at Michigan. I'm going to go out and recruit. That's wrong. That's just wrong. Brock says, so Washington technically will be the national champions if the trophy is taken from Michigan. I think it'll just be vacated. They won't give it to Washington. It'll be vacated. I doubt that happens, though. I doubt that happens. By the way, new Michigan coach Sharon Morris facing allegations he violated NCAA rules related to the investigation into scouting and sign stealing. According to the draft of the NCAA's notice of allegations obtained Sunday by ESPN, Moore has been accused of deleting text message exchanges with Connor Stallions, the former low-level recruiting staffer who coordinated an off-campus advanced scouting operation around the time the investigations opened. According to the draft, the NCAA has recommended a less serious level 2 violation for Moore and alleged that a message between Moore and Stallions were recovered and that he and the coach provided them to the NCAA. I got nothing. I agree with Rec Talk. Rec Talk, you're coming with the hard stuff today, man. I appreciate it. Got to do it with the way the NCAA football have a system like the NFL has with owners, make arbitration clause that if you play in the league, you can't sue without arbitration. Yep. And to basically put it down there, if you're caught cheating, we're going to hammer you, and you can't sue us because we're all in this for the better good of the product. Yeah, that's not going to work. You're going to expect Ohio State and Michigan fans to get along? No. I checked out the Ohio State fan board. They're automatically like, fuck it. We've won the last 18 Big Ten championships. They cheated forever. Those fans should be shot in the face too, because they're just dumber than a bag of rocks. What they should be upset about is that the organization that regulates college sports not only fucked them, but fucked everyone. That's the problem that we have here. All right. You guys want to join the show? Have at it. By the way, we did a stream last night for the simulation for LSU and Southern Cal. Southern Cal with the 24-21 win last night. Yeah, buddy. We'll do another stream tonight. Get that moving. By the way, the Rob and Kale challenge, Callaway's challenge, is up and running. Go to robandkaleshow.com. I'll put the link over here so you guys can check it out. Look, it's $20. Okay, $20. You put that into the challenge. And some of y'all don't like me. Everybody loves Jackpot. I'm fine with that. I have no problem being the hated asshole on this show. I don't give a shit. All right. So I tell you that because you're going to send your money to Jackpot. Jackpot's got all the money, all of it. He's holding all of it for you. You can look at it from that perspective because you put your $20 in. If you win the challenge after 12 weeks, I think it is 13 weeks, 13 weeks of picking the best college football games of the season and the Kale Hall shitter every week. You pick those games correctly against the spread and beat everybody else. Hey, guess what? You could win 70% of the pot goes to first place, 20% to second, 10% to third. Hell, if you finish in third place, guess what? You're going to win. I mean, you may win from last year's pot. You'd win $300. Invest $20, win 300. You're going to watch and pick the damn games anyway. You're going to come to this channel and watch me in the afternoons and watch us on Wednesday and Sunday night pick our games. And then you're going to watch Jackpot's games live on Saturday. You should be hitting the like button up there and telling people about this show, by the way. Telling people about the reactions that Jackpot gives people. That should be coming up in conversations when you're out having your Labor Day picnics and all that shit. You should be talking about this program and the channel and stuff we put out. There are some great YouTubers out there. We try to put out some good, high-quality content. Jackpot knows everything there is to know about football and not much else, but he does know football. So, yeah, there you go. All that here on this channel. Go get in the damn Callaway's Pick'em Challenge. The link is right. Look at this. Boom, right there. Boom, get into it. So, the stuff that I've heard from fall camp, we'll start with, I haven't got my guys that are down covering the Gamecocks. The one thing I've heard is how much they've appreciated the little bit they've gotten from Lenore Sellers as far as comments and everything else, and about how he just seems so well-spoken and so centered. That's the one word two guys said to me, centered. We'll get into that in a moment. Rec Talk. Why am I hearing myself? No, I don't know what Rec Talk did, but you're welcome to come back. Anyway, centered is the term that I've heard about him. I don't know if Sellers is going to be a great quarterback. I don't. Physically, he has the capability to do all kind of stuff. Yeah, he does. He does. Is he going to be great? I don't know. A lot of it hinges on that Gamecock offensive line, which I've heard they're doing okay from one person I know that's down there in the mix. They're okay was the thing that I got out of it. What else have I heard? What was the other thing? Running backs look good. And that's about it. That's about all I've heard on from stuff that I've heard that might be a little more than what you're getting from your favorite 247 Sports Insider. Rec Talk, welcome to the program, sir.
Rob, how are you, sir?
Hey, man, thank you for joining the show today. What do you have for the program?
Well, we've finally got to a point in college football that I never thought we would get to, which is that everyone agrees. Everyone agrees this doesn't work. Like, what is going on in college football right now is totally screwed up and is not sustainable. So that's why I put in your chat, like, well, hell, how does the NFL do it? NFL doles out punishments all the time. They just did it to the Falcons with the Kirk Cousins situation. Why is it that college football can't figure that out?
I think it's because, I mean, I know the NFL is big, but you have 134 schools. Getting all 134 schools to agree to something is probably a hell of a lot harder than getting 32 franchises to agree. And by the way, the franchises, each franchise is worth over what the Panthers sell for, like $850 million, something like that. You know?
Yeah, they're in the $1 billion neighborhood, all of them.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say $1 billion flat. If I invest $1 billion, I'm going to want things like that arbitration that you were talking about to help protect my franchise. But there's so much, I think, backlog in it, meaning that the Ohio State folks, they want Michigan hung from a cross, but they don't want themselves hung from a cross. They don't give a
Sure.
shit about Mizzou, where Mizzou got just blistered over. Mizzou got a bowl ban for some
Georgia Tech. They got
Tech.
an
Yeah,
ACC title strip for a tracksuit.
yeah, that, and I mean we can go up and down the line. It's everybody they want their rivals blistered. They don't want anything to happen to them, and they don't care about everybody else being above par because in their eyes that'll help shield them if they do something that's below par. But this is the NCAA's fault.
Yeah, they
They should have
created
got
this.
people together and figured it out.
They created this. Look, SMU got the death penalty however many years ago, right?
Oh,
Were
yeah.
they doing anything Texas wasn't doing at the exact same time they got the death penalty? No, they weren't.
Nope.
So the NCAA has created this parity in how they dole out punishment, and that is now instilled how all these schools run, where it's like, okay, there's different rules for everybody, and obviously it's still that way right now.
Well, and a lot of it comes down to how much money you have. And I hate to bring this up too, but let's be honest. I think I read something that 86% of the NCAA football players are black kids, right? Why is it that an HBCU that are all black players, why don't they go to those schools? Because the money's not there. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, they're going to protect the money generators.
Exactly. Every school that is in the NCAA should be on a level playing field, but it may be impossible to get them there.
I don't need a level playing field. Just enforce the rules uniformly. Like, we're never going to have a level playing field. Like, is Georgia Tech ever going to have
level? But wait a minute. Your example earlier, the NFL does their best to make it a level playing field.
Yeah, but they don't recruit. So because you recruit high school athletes, you're never going to have a level playing field. Like Alabama wins a national title, then they're drafting last. That's not how college football works. That's all I'm saying.
I get that, but on the other front, maybe they could, I don't know, we need spitball ideas here. Cut the number of players you can bring in on transfer. Maybe there's something you can do to balance it out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we have to get creative here because we've put ourselves in a shithole, and we have to figure out how to climb out. And clawing our way is not going to work. We need something innovative, and maybe that's one way to do it. I don't know. I'm open to just about anything at this juncture.
You got to take the first step, which is you've got to have a regulatory body that isn't completely neutered and can be effective. That's the first thing you have to do. And you don't have to get all 134 teams on board. You just got to get like the top 25 or 30. And then you say, okay, if you want to play real college football, then these are the rules we all agree on. If you don't want to, create your own BS league that no one cares about.
Yeah, I what you're saying makes a lot of sense. I mean, there are holes that we can poke in it, but I mean, I kind of like that idea. Hey, we're going to get the top 25, 30 teams. And let's just say we're going to get the Power Four conferences that we have right now and get those commissioners to agree we are signing on with this legislative body and we're going to follow their rules. We're not going to sue them if something happens to one of our programs. We're not going to do that. And then it's strength in numbers because let's just be real here. We have the group of 5 team that's going to get into the playoffs, and that's the Cinderella story. None of them are ever going to win a national title. It's going to come from one of the Power Four conferences. It's just the way that it is. We put those Power Four conference commissioners in there. We have one person that is above them, And that person gets to lay down the law. He dictates to those four. Those four dictate to their universities, and it's law, and that's it. Like Judge Dredd shit. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Maybe you could even rotate whoever the commissioner is across the
Well,
Power Four.
you know who the first commissioner should be is Nick Saban. I mean, that's either Nick Saban or Bill Belichick because they care about the game. And I know Belichick and Saban, we could talk about how they cheated and everything else, but I mean, who else could you give me here?
Nah, I'd be
Seriously,
down with
actually,
Saban, hundred
yeah,
percent.
Saban would be perfect because he would not have a problem telling one of the conference commissioners, no, we're not going to do that. Nope, that's not going to happen. And something else we can alleviate too, this whole shit of appealing. Once the legislative body has made a decision, and they've got to do their due diligence and make sure that it's correct. But once they've done that, you don't get to appeal. Take your punishment now and then move from there. Rec Talk, thanks for joining the program. Anyway, I didn't cut him off. He just dropped. So let's make sure that's out there. So there's that. I think that that's the way that we should go. I don't know. Appreciate it, Rec. But maybe that's something that we can talk about there if you want to join the program today. I think that we got to do something, and maybe that's the way to do it. I have no problem following someone who I think overall is pretty much ethical, and I think that Saban is close. Yeah, everybody's got skeletons in their closet, and Tennessee fans will lose their shit about, oh, we can't have him, and I wouldn't have a problem with a laundry list of people, you know. But have somebody there that has a spine and isn't going to be moved by people talking to them and, oh, well, no. Well, we only gave them money because we were trying to help them with this. I don't want to hear that. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. Bubbles with a good comment. End of the day, there's always going to be shady things going on behind the scenes of these bigger Power 5 programs. Yep, there is. I use the gist of the $500 handshake, but that's real. I mean, that's happened forever, you know? So now on the other end, let's make sure that I put this out there because it sounds like I've just been pissing on the college football product altogether. I'm not. It's what I grew up with. It's what I love. I absolutely love college sports, not just football, baseball. I love going to a midweek baseball game I use South Carolina and Clemson. I'll go to a game at Presbyterian, go out there and there's like 30 people in the stands. I love that shit. Absolutely love it. I love college sports. It's one of the most, I don't know. I don't even know what the term I want to use. Americana thing ever is college sports. It's like, it's better than anything anybody can write because you can't write some of the shit that you see. You can't. So, yeah. Bubble says nobody mentions all those Bama players posing in front of Camaros and Hellcats when Saban was coaching. Here's the thing. If you're a Division I player and the university wants to give you a car to drive, I don't have a fucking problem with that. You're generating that university millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. They should give you a $50,000 car to drive around. I don't have an issue with that. That doesn't bother me at all. So, I mean, you know, as much money that the university makes on all of this stuff. Yeah. Shout out to Todd and Deepak. Appreciate you guys. In the grand scheme of things, if we were just honest, if I'm just saying, yeah, I agree with you, Bubbles. The idea is that it wasn't illegal, it wasn't what they were doing wasn't right, and it wasn't. In the eyes of the law, it wasn't. I'm just saying that I'd rather look, you come here, you make the team, we're going to get you a car. Yep, You go to the dealership, pick out the car that you want. That's the way that it works. We're going to give you a stipend. Your stipend will be, I don't know, 25 grand, whatever. But everybody gets the same thing. And the universities can afford that. Money on top of money, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I mean, it is absurd what these universities make off these off football just in general. Not just ticket prices and concessions, which is in the millions per game. Okay. The licensing of uniforms and everything else. Yeah, Deepak, I love college basketball. Love it. Absolutely love it. So, I don't know. I don't have an issue with that. They don't want to pay them as far as and make them employees, though. That's the big thing. So, yeah. All right, let's see what we got here. I'll give you guys one more chance to get in here this afternoon. Jackpot and I'll be at it again tonight, right here on the show. We'll go back and forth. We'll probably have, I'm sure we'll get Jackpot's opinion on the Michigan stuff. You think they should be stripped of the national title? Yeah, I mean, that has to be thought about, you know? So the whole thing, and Michigan's on a different level too with some of this stuff because of the whole where they had somebody like literally scoping out teams and seeing shit. I have issues with that. I don't think that's right. Let's welcome Schultz to the program. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
What's going on?
So, what you were saying about players getting paid,
Yeah,
I'm fine with players being able to make money off their name, image, and likeness, and be able to make money like what you were saying, or for the school to go out and get them a car for them to use. I'm fine with that. It's just whenever they go and they try to use that to recruit and say, "Hey, we're going to get you this great NIL deal if you come here." That's when I have a problem, and that's what I don't think should be legal. And I feel like that's how most people are, though.
yeah,
As for what you were saying about Michigan,
yeah.
I don't think Michigan's wins just from this year should be vacated. I think Michigan's wins from the last 2 years should
I,
be vacated.
we can't do that because remember, you have to give them the stuff. It depends on how many violations they got. Remember, Tennessee had what 100, and they got basically nothing. A
Well, the
fine.
reason,
You can't go back and put the toothpaste back in the tube now. You didn't send Tennessee to the point where they couldn't field a roster against Tennessee Tech. You didn't do anything to Kansas. You didn't do anything to North Carolina.
you got a good
You
point with
cannot.
that.
Yeah, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. You gave Tennessee nothing.
Well, as much
Nothing.
as I hate Tennessee,
So when that happens, you can't come back and get them now.
well,
Sorry.
as much as I hate Tennessee, Bubbles in the comments kind of said this too, and I agree with him. Shout out to him, by the way. So when Tennessee got busted, it's like they wanted to get caught, and they complied with it. They didn't try to resist it. They almost turned themselves in a way, and they lost most of their recruits. Most of them transferred out or were forced to decommit. So that's the reason why Tennessee didn't get really any kind of big time punishment other than some recruiting restrictions. And that's the reason why they didn't get it busted as bad like how Ole Miss got.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm kind of with you on that, but you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Now
So
you really can't.
you can't do it because then they'll like literally some lawyer will come from Michigan and be like, look, and they'll put out the stuff that happened with North Carolina and Tennessee. They did far worse than we did. You know,
Especially North
they had,
Carolina.
oh, North Carolina was. I
That
think
was
the thing that
pitiful.
bothers me the most about that is that I have friends that went to that got
UNC.
that got African American studies degrees that actually went to Africa to study stuff over there. And I know that they worked really, really hard to get their degrees. And the degree that they've got isn't worth the paper that it's written on because They gave fake degrees to idiots that could barely
Right.
read. So
Right. And
it doesn't that one really bothers me. The
it bothers
hillbillies
me
in
too.
Tennessee, they whatever. They're gonna do their thing. But in the end, like when you're screwing with the academic portion of it, that bugs me. The stuff with the sign stealing, I have the mentality of this with the sign stealing. If they were trying to record practices and stuff, and well, we got to learn the whole thing about that. Stallions was on the sidelines for Central Michigan, which why in the God's name do you have to scout Central Michigan like that? I don't know. Central Michigan, I think, was playing somebody else. I think that's
They
what it
were
was more
playing
than.
Michigan State. That's the reason
That's
why.
right. Yeah,
Although
but
that doesn't
is
make much
it,
sense either.
well, but here's the thing. I think that if you can pick up the side, the what they're doing from the other sideline, if I can see it and I can pick it up, then that's on their coaching staff's fault.
Right.
I can't help I'm smarter than you. I can't help that you made such a transparent game plan because your players are so fucking stupid that you can't put anything out there that's complicated because they're too goddamn dumb to figure it out. So you have to do with stick right means rush up the middle because you don't know your quarterback is so fucking dumb he can't judge three different signs. That's on you.
So
So
you
I I,
think that
I don't I don't have any issues with that. If I'm on the sidelines and I can figure it out, then you're a dumb fuck. First of all, for getting dumb players that are just stupid and can't articulate and figure out whatever sign it is you're trying to give them. Or two, you didn't change it as soon as you figured out they knew your signs. That's on you. And until then, until people start having some accountability on that front, it's hard for me to take the sign stealing stuff, with the exception of the scouting part. That's different. But if I'm head to head against you and I could see what you're doing, and by the middle of the second quarter, I can call plays, I'll give you a perfect example. South Carolina at one point had, when they were in the shotgun in the Blake Thompson era, Lowell, the intern from Clemson Sports Talk, and I figured out we could call the plays immediately just by the way that Thompson signaled them off. If I can steal those signs and figure that out, and I'm a chunky asshole sitting in a radio studio, I'm sure that some defensive coordinator that's coaching for his existence will be happy to figure those out. So it's just that part, they stole our signs. Well, you should have had better signs. But
you
if
got
they
a good
were,
point with
they
that, I
were,
guess.
yeah. But if they were in your practice and you didn't know about it, that's different. Completely different.
I got one more thing for you before I go. One more thing.
Sure.
So y'all were talking about the group of five and the power five, or excuse me, power four earlier, and I wrote in the comment myself that they need to split up. It's you have one team that makes the, like you said, you have one team that makes the college football playoff, one group of five team, but that team's never going to have a shot at the national title,
Right.
and there's just no way. So I think they need to, not only do they need to separate the two leagues, but I think that the group of five should be also split into two different leagues. Because say for example, Coastal Carolina and Boise State, in my opinion, aren't at the same, like the Sun Belt and the Mountain West. Mountain West has bigger schools than the Sun Belt,
Right.
So I feel like there should be two different levels of it at least. I mean,
I kind of understand that. I get that. But here's something that I think too. I like the idea of we're gonna have 30 teams in one league. Those 30 teams are gonna play for the true national title. The other 100 teams, 104 teams, whatever, you're in the league below that. You'll have a national title, but it'll be like the D2 title. Okay. Now, here's the thing though. If you are not a relevant, and we could even do 50 teams, whatever. Let's say we do 50 teams. Okay. But if you're a team that doesn't do shit for years and years on end, and you have not been valid on the football field over a consistent period of time, we have to come up with something. But you can be relegated. You can be relegated
Yeah, but
back
I
down
just
to the other league. I like that. I absolutely love that because then we get the best of the best playing against each other.
yeah, well, I think that I think there needs to be like I said, a group of five playoff. I'm personally surprised that nobody ever said UCF should be considered group of five national champions as opposed to national champions overall. And I mean, that was ridiculous. I kind of think it's ridiculous that people think UCF should have gotten a spot in the college football playoffs. I mean, I get Auburn beat Alabama, who UCF beat, or the UCF beat Auburn, who beat Alabama, but Auburn was unmotivated. I mean, they thought they were going to get in the playoff, and they didn't because they lost to Georgia in the SEC title
Right.
game. So I think that's ridiculous to think that UCF should have gotten in the college football playoff. But anyway, I appreciate you letting me have me on.
Appreciate it, man. Have a great day. We'll talk to
Yeah,
you
you
later
too.
on. There you go. Look, a lot of what Schultz said makes sense. I don't agree with there's no perfect program, no perfect plan or whatever, but there are some things that should happen immediately. The first one being we need to have an actual commissioner that gets to lay down the law, period. So there's that. Um, yeah, it's you got to have that, to be honest with you. And then we got to figure out the TV end of it. I mean, there's so many things, but what we got right now is just not working. It's just not. So anyway, so crazy news with that coming up today here with Harbaugh getting the 4-year show cause. Uh, it saved Tennessee a huge buyout with Pruitt. Well, I have thoughts on that. Tennessee, like, I don't think they paid Pruitt. Maybe they got where they worked out something or whatever. But here's the thing: if you hire a coach, you should have to pay him. Okay? If your athletic department was dumb enough to hire a guy that ran the program into the ground, then you should have to pay him. Period. Oh, and by the way, we live in America where if you sign a contract, you should have to pay the contract. Not just because, oh, you didn't do what I think you were going to do. You didn't bring the Alabama logic here. He signed a contract. They should pay it. And they should have him pay it simply based on the fact of your organization was so stupid they hired a dummy. Then you look later on. Then you fire the dummies that hired that guy and you go get somebody else. That's how that works. If you go to court, that's a good question, Mad Speedin. If he breaks the terms, okay, that's fine. But in theory, they have to prove that. Good luck with that. Good luck proving that in court. Well, the way it should be is we're paying you, but then we're suing you. That's how it should be. You know? So there you go. All right, what else you guys got for today? Oh, the White Sox broke their streak last night. I don't know why that's so cool for me anyway. It was a 21 game losing streak they broke last night. Pretty cool. So Harry says Billy UGA starts classes on the 15th, and I tell you what, Kirby Smart cannot be happier than to make sure he's got everybody in class. Holy shit. Ah, man. There you go. Yep. Todd agrees with me. Innocent until proven guilty. Yep. Yep. Pay that contract. That's what they should do. They won't, though. They won't. But if we are, we'll use that term, and they could hammer down quickly. And oh, by the way, you can't sue. That would be great. Can you imagine the Tennessee fan base or even the North Carolina fan base? College football czar says, look, you cheated really, really bad. So we're not just going to fine you. And no. We're going to fuck you with a battle axe. You don't get to go to a bowl for 2 years. That's what you get. And you can be on TV, but you're going to pay the TV crew to come record your games. You're not going to be as part of our SEC contract. We're gonna put you guys back to the fucking Stone Ages to set the example that you don't cheat here. And oh, by the way, you signed the no arbitration thing, so you can't sue us. So goodbye. Take that back to your fan base. Tell them they cheered on cheaters. Oof. Man, that would be some shit. I'm saying they should have paid his contract. He was guilty. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think all contracts should be paid. Pruitt was dumb. I feel bad about Pruitt because I thought he was going to be really good. I really did. He seemed to have the pedigree and was great. Man, he turned out to be a shithole. Terrible. Terrible. SMU was made an example of. Well, they didn't cheat for a long time, did they? Nope. They didn't cheat. Yeah. But hold on with that. All right, here's Billy. Welcome to the program. What's up, Billy?
Hey, I'm just calling in. I'm just catching the tail end of this now.
Hi.
Tennessee was guilty of cheating, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then they did a lot of things to clean stuff up, but now you're saying Pruitt shouldn't have been fired?
No, I said he should be paid his contract. That's what I
If
said.
the contract says you get caught cheating, you get fired for cause.
Right.
We're not paying you. That's part of the contract.
You didn't listen to what I said. I said you should pay him his contract and then sue him. That's what I said. But you have the sting of we hired a complete dumbass here, and we don't get to just reset because it fucked up on us.
How did you know they hired a dumbass? How did you know they hired a dumbass? At the time, he was a saving disciple and a genius.
That's great, but he turned out not to be, right?
Well, you don't know that till down the road. I mean,
okay. Well, I'm just saying there should be a lot of higher ups, and what I mean by that is that the boosters and the people that pay this stuff, that fund the athletic department, they should be stung too. You know,
I think they lost scholarships. They lost, I think, 25 scholarships was on probation bowl.
Scholarships don't mean anything. You can have a guy come in as a walk-on and give him NIL money. No scholarship.
Do you think there's levels of player crimes, cheating, and stuff? Is there not levels of it?
Well, in the eyes of the NCAA, it doesn't matter. I mean, how many level 1 violations did Tennessee have? You remember? I mean, it was a shit ton of them, and they got nothing for it. So, I mean, in my eyes, there are. In my eyes, there are. I think that, maybe there should be a dollar amount put on it. I don't know. That's a good question.
So if a university cleans its act up and stuff and fires a bunch of people and self-imposes, that's what they look at.
Okay, Billy.
I mean, I
really think that happened? Come on now.
Well, should a coach be hired that's been caught cheating before at an institution? And I'm not going to name that institution because I don't want to get stuff riled up here. But
what are you talking about?
There was a school in the SEC that hired a coach that had been caught for cheating before.
Yeah, you're talking about Shane Beamer and the stuff that happened with him beforehand. Yeah, that happened. Yeah. Absolutely. I don't agree with impeding upon anybody's ability to make a living for themselves. I don't think that's American.
What I'm saying is Shane's stuff was insignificant, and he shouldn't receive any punishment for that. I mean, I think in essence he did.
Insignificant in your eyes, or just insignificant in general?
Well, obviously it was insignificant because he wasn't fired for cause,
he allegedly stole a playbook, right?
Right.
Okay. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, right? Because you're messing with the integrity of the game, right?
But was it proven?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Was it actually proven and stuff? So I think there's just levels of violations that but aren't we glad now the NCAA is out of the NIL stuff?
Yeah, we can. Well, I've said from the beginning, we have to thank Tennessee for that, because Tennessee
and Virginia.
Virginia. Virginia theirs too.
Yep.
But in the grand scheme of things, that is Tennessee's that's Tennessee's cross that they've bared, and they've given that up, man. So yeah, good for them.
And I don't know. It's now because there were no, and so people are saying, well, now it messed it up. Like somebody said the other night. No, it didn't. There wasn't any rules to begin with, just like Nick Saban pointed out 3 years ago. This is a goat rope. There's no rules or anything. So now you wanted to start trying to enforce rules and stuff, and I guess they just picked on the wrong school. You know, we'd already been through hell and back and stuff. But anyway, I'm not for NIL. I think the players should get a stipend, and that's it.
Well, they get a stipend anyway. I mean, let's be honest. They get a stipend anyway. And to be fair, I've said this before, and I'll say this again. I said earlier, I don't have issues if they get a car or whatever, but then I think about it. And when it comes down to it, they get an education, room, board. They get that stipend every semester, however much that is. They get all the tutors in the world to make them great, you know?
Right.
All of that shit costs money, you know? And in addition to that, they get coaching too. Look, my daughter's trying to, I don't know if I've talked about this in the program, but my daughter's a hell of a golfer.
Right.
Okay. I think she's ranked 13th in the state as far as juniors go. She's a hell of a golfer. The money that we spend on lessons, which is what you get when you get there, coaching and everything else from people that know what they're doing, that shit costs money too. They get that too. And that's something that a lot of people don't talk about.
Yeah.
I used Deshaun Watson as an example. When he came to Clemson, he was 185 pounds. Okay. When he left Clemson, he was 215 pounds and could read defenses and everything else. How do you think he learned to do that?
Yeah.
You don't think Tony Elliott coaching the shit out of him and spending all that time with him didn't help him? Of course it did.
Hold on. We're back to Schultz, and now thanks to Tennessee, there's no rules. Sure, there are rules. The rule is the university can't get involved in NIL. Coaches can't get involved in NIL. And it's who's got the biggest pocket. That's what he's complaining about. He's complaining about, and this is what NIL does. Schools that's got a lot of money and that has a collective and that uses the collective, like Tennessee does, is stupid. Giving a kid $8 million to come there is dumb. I don't care what they say. But he's saying there's no rules. Sure they are. The school, staff, and anything people associated with the university cannot get into NIL. Other than that, what's the other rule you want? I want to know what other rule he wants. A limit? There's not going to be any limit.
Yeah, there's
not going to be any limit.
Well, that's why when you mess with someone's ability to make money, courts don't like that. So there's
Bubbles
that.
got him. Bubbles told him there wasn't any rules to begin with. That's exactly right. That's why the federal judge let Tennessee win the case. You didn't have any rules, as Nick Saban pointed out. So the rule is this: sky's the limit. School can't be involved. Coaches and staff can't be involved. Now what? What other rule would you like to have? I don't know. But like you said, you can't put on limits on how much a young man makes. That would be thrown out so fast, make your head swim. So this is where we are. I'm not really in favor of NIL or the transfer portal. It's kill college football as we know it today. So anyway,
I think that certain people put that got us to a point where there was a bunch of greed there, where they were profiting off the likeness of players, and they didn't give a shit.
Right.
And they didn't think that, hey, maybe we should try to work on something to make this better. They just didn't care. So,
well, I'm like this. There's a couple different semi-pro football leagues. What is it? The USFL and something else. Go do that, but leave college football alone. If that's what it is, you want to make money. And I think that's what a lot of people are upset with. There are schools that pass out the money and there's schools that not. And that's that. And I think that's what Schultz is upset with is the amount of money schools are spending, which that's called capitalism. And that's what the federal judge said. NCAA cannot prohibit kids from making money.
I get that, but I think that, like, well, maybe it should be like this. Once you leave the university, then you get your likeness back. Maybe we could go with that, because
Sure.
if you go to South Carolina and you look underneath Williams-Brice Stadium, there's a massive monument, lighted up mural of Jadeveon Clowney. They didn't give him any money for that. You know what
That
I'm
we
saying?
know of.
Well, in fairness, I'm just saying that
Right, I got you.
they still sell a Clowney jersey in the damn Russell
Yeah.
House, which is the bookstore. Clowney should get a piece of that because they're using his likeness after they've already utilized it there. That's such a fine gray area with all that stuff.
This didn't help college football, and like I said the other night, the 12-game playoff didn't help because now we're already arguing on which G5 school should get in and who's going to get left out. It has solved nothing. It's just people still going to be crying because their team didn't, using it. Well, we beat this team that beat this team, so we should get in. No. But anyway, I'll get off here.
Appreciate it, man.
Later. Bye-bye.
Billy joining the program today. All right, so we've had a good show. We'll be back at it later on tonight. You guys are welcome to follow me on Twitter. I'm at Rob Sounds Good. We'll see you tonight for the Rob and Kale Show. Y'all have a great day.